Thank you for listening to Sexploration with Monika. I'm your host, Sexpert Monika Thomas. I'm also a certified sexual health educator, and I love talking about sex on the radio. I've actually been doing this for like 16 years now, and I still haven't done a show about feet. And so I've brought my, I want to say feisty bestie, Eve Minax of Get the Kinks Out and eveminax.com. And we're going to talk about all the delicious things that you can experience pleasure with your tootsies, and some of the things that people fetishize and love and experience and find uniquely sensational. She's also got some really interesting projects going on with Tantra. Do you want to talk about Tantra?
I just want to point out, though, that we're also pedicure buddies.
Yes, we are. We love getting pedicures together.
Every time we get pedicures together, I have to photograph her feet and also then post it up on my social media. So if you would like to see Monika Thomas's fabulously
my
freshly,
tootsies.
Yes, then you might want to check out Twitter.
Okay.
Eve Minax on Twitter, yeah.
She can hawk my tootsies on
I've been
the Twitter.
telling you for years to hawk those tootsies.
Yeah, no, I have done a little bit of work, early. Even before I started the show, I just did some ads on Craigslist because, who knows what you're going to find on Craigslist. And I had a couple foot sessions, but oftentimes I would find that people wanted more than just feet. And that's really all I wanted to offer. And sometimes the negotiation would get a little weird. And so, people would conflate, I want to be tied up with I want to tie you up, which is really a different thing. If I wanted to get tied up, if I was willing to be tied up, I would have invited a friend to make sure that I was safe if you were going to tie me up. But me preparing to tie you up, I feel very safe if I have tied you up. So that's a totally different thing.
Are you ticklish?
I sometimes can train myself to not be ticklish. Like I can just refuse in some situations. But
you're one of those.
Yeah.
I call BS. I'm sorry. I have to jump
it's
in.
True.
There is no such thing. If you're ticklish, you're ticklish, especially if there's a place.
That's not true.
Really?
You can find a way to be like, nope, I'm just turning that off. But
do you agree with that?
If you're sensitive to it, if you're not in the right mood to refuse, there was a little moment where I was like, actually, I am. But, sometimes, I can refuse right now.
Well,
see,
okay, so if I think about the passing of my goldfish.
I'm enjoying that massage, actually. She's grabbing my arm. And I'm like, actually, it's sort of sore there.
So I think you may have a point. I have met I'm a tickle fetishist. So I've met numerous people over the years who say that they are not ticklish, and I go to tickle them, and they are. Or
they are ticklish.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I've met people who say that they are ticklish, or they are, but they can control it like you do, and sometimes they can, and sometimes they can't. And I think it's like you said, whether they're open to it or not. But
it has something to do with the submissiveness and feeling safe.
Well, no, because
No?
I agree with
Paul.
Paul, thanks. I agree with Paul here in that
she wasn't happy that with Paul.
I always forget
It's
names.
fine.
It's terrible.
You can agree with Paul. I don't mind. He's funny.
No, but he's got a point, because I'm going to out myself here.
Do it.
I am 100% extremely ticklish.
Oh. Like pee your pants ticklish, kind of?
Oh.
I can't stop laughing. I'm so uncomfortable. Why are you
And when I was a child, they could barely bathe me.
Oh.
It was that bad. And I still am. Sorry. So I don't know how to... if I tried a million years I would not be able to turn that off. So I think he's got a point. Maybe he's ticklish like me, and he knows what that's like to live. Speak,
Do
Paul.
you?
Do I know what it's like to live? In other words, do I just
Well,
let
are
go?
you ticklish sometimes?
Yeah,
And can
but
you
like
turn it
'cause
on and
I guess
off?
like I was saying, the only thing when you said if I'm in the mood or if I'm focused on it, like I was about to say, is that
Well,
if
rebellion is my way. And like I also can do this thing of like it's something like being manly, like something like being
like
it's-
shutting off your emotions.
yes. And also the other thing is like, you know, when you
Men can't do that either. They just do it. They just do it in a different way
well,
than
it's
women.
like putting something in a box, right? You're like, okay, I'm putting my ticklishness
That's a totally
in a box.
different show.
No,
And-
I think it's about degrees. Like I am extremely
Sliding scales?
ticklish, and I am very, very good at withholding a number of emotions and actions and everything else in my
Professionally.
Yes, indeed.
True.
And I cannot imagine in a million years being able to control. I mean, because I've tried. When I was a child, that was the way they my siblings tortured me.
Oh, that sounds
I loved
bad.
it. I loved it. I hated it, and it's a love-hate thing.
Oh,
I love tickling people now, though.
interesting.
And so
Right,
that's
and there's
just
some
one
people that just
aspect of
don't like
feet, by the
tickling
way.
too, right? There's just some people that don't like tickling, like you're just saying tickling feet. My significant other hates having their feet touched, and so that's not a
It's not
joyous
erotic.
event.
It's not joyous. It's not interesting.
doesn't take you back to childhood. It doesn't do anything other than piss her off.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Okay.
I've worked with a number of. I have a really funny story too about that. But I've worked with a number of people over the years who I've had to really remember in my head that they're ticklish and they don't like it because as soon as I see when I'm playing with someone.
Oh, and then you see the
And I see
opportunity and you're
their-
like,
and that they're responding like in a ticklish fashion, I just want to go for it, you know? And it's just like Paul said, it's not erotic, it's not fun, it's not interesting, can kill the scene. So don't do it. This is where you want to, pay attention to your partner.
Well, and then I
read
think
their symbols.
And then I think there's other times you're just susceptible to it. You're more open to it, just like anything else in life, right? And so there's times where you're going to be more apt to laugh and giggle when you're being tickled, not when your goldfish just passed away.
Oh my gosh.
Well, no, this is...
Goldfish are nice.
No goldfish were harmed
were
in the
harmed in
filming
the
of this podcast.
Sexploration with Monika.
No.
That's true.
Monica, I want to remind you that when we get our pedicures done, that part where they do the little scrubbing on the...
Oh,
Remember what happens with me every time? Where I have to go... And sometimes I even almost fall out of my chair and the
Yeah.
women start laughing at me.
yeah.
I mean, that is, they're not even trying to tickle me. They're scrubbing my feet with little abrasive bars.
I sometimes get oversensitive when that happens. I mean, it isn't-
Oversensitive, she calls it now.
Well, you're like, whoa, that's really my feet. Whoa. I mean, they are
Whoa.
trying to, remove layers of and get in there.
Skin.
I argue the point, is there ever such a thing as overly sensitive?
Also true. But it also, in my opinion, depends on the context and the situation. So I was going to make a metaphor around when I'm playing pool. Like if someone is like doing some sexist thing, like girls can't play pool, like that's when my ability to play pool comes on. In the same way that like being tickled and the rebelliousness of showing how not ticklish I am, that my ability turns on when someone is like, I bet you're ticklish and I can tickle you. And then I'm like, and then I sometimes can find a way not to be. But
You can bring, I can bring certain people to a ticklegasm.
ooh,
Back to footgasm. Ticklegasm is another form where they have rolling orgasms.
that's awesome.
And it's great to do with guys who are ticklish, who are into that,
Right.
because they get to experience another aspect of their sexuality that they don't often get to. And oftentimes when they ask their partners to tickle them, they don't want to. They're like, ew, that's weird.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
a pity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not
Aww.
lovely to shame
Yeah.
your partner for their
No.
eccentric desires, and
Not
they
Well,
should.
eccentric, perfectly natural,
Thank
lovely,
you.
beautiful
What's
desires.
eccentric? Hold on.
Well,
Sorry.
I mean, anything that is non-normative oftentimes is.
Only if you believe in normative, folks.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Wait,
you
I
don't
was going
have
to say,
to
what
believe
is
in.
normal?
You don't have to believe in normativity. In fact, I find anti-normativity is like a fun game that we all get to play together in San Francisco, right?
Some social norms are just
Yay.
boring.
Right. And, especially when it comes to pleasure, like, more is better. I mean,
Vanilla is my new kink.
yay. So we want to talk about like all the different ways of doing footgasms and more foot play. I also want to talk a little bit about your work at Tashra and the interesting things that you are doing with neurodiversity and healing PTSD.
Okay. So that's a lot. We're going to start with just talking about my work with Tasha. Tasha stands for the Alternative Sexuality Health Research Alliance. And what they are is a group of clinicians that started about 12 years ago to do some research on BDSM and kink and how to get clinicians better understanding around people who practice those practices. And then it evolved into more and more research around the neurobiology or the physiobiology of how the body responds when it's engaging in certain activities around kink. So, for example, endorphins would be one that we look to right away, and one of the first ones there would be your dopamine.
Right?
Right? So our body makes fabulous drugs, right?
Yes, really good drugs.
I've always said my body makes better drugs than
Well, and they're so clean, and you get over them like so cleanly without toxicity.
I don't know. I think you can get a little toxicity from it, but I don't mind that. But I don't know actually the research on that. I'll have to ask Tasha.
Oh, you mean when you're like super high off of
Yeah, you just need to be
endorphins or
caution.
something?
Yeah, like if you're really high on the endorphins and you can't think straight, then you'd need to have some extra care there. But I don't know if that's toxicity exactly. But the research that they're doing is so fascinating because if you think about it, these things happen with us all the time, right? Like right now. The cortisol levels may be
Slightly elevated.
elevated.
We're on the radio.
Because we're on the radio.
Live.
We're activated. We're live. And there could be some oxytocin happening between you and me because
we love each other.
we love each other and we're bonding, right?
Yeah.
And so what was interesting to me was when Tasha started bringing out this research, and I've been a long-term volunteer with them, and they started dialoguing about like, okay, here's a scenario, and I'd start to think about, okay, here's a scene. So you bring someone in, they're nervous, cortisol levels are up. You calm them down, help them feel trust. The trust starts to build some oxytocin. The endorphins kick in, and then the dopamine starts to kick in, and then maybe they start feeling more relaxed and calmer, and then you might want to like punch in a little more cortisol,
And so this is part of a different kind of, I mean, it's not really just a scene, but it's like how you work with all the different biochemical ways.
Neurotransmitters.
Yeah, neurotransmitters. Like you're going up, you're going down, and then you're consciously trying to control those with like BDSM, which is
Yeah, I wouldn't say control. That's just my language.
Play with,
I would say more,
maybe.
managing, guiding, manipulating, if you will. But not manipulation in the term of like evil manipulation, unless,
Right.
of course, that's the game you're playing.
Right.
Um,
If it's consensual.
Exactly. But more so, let me give you a clearer example. So, bondage, mummification, things like that are
Yes.
very reassuring to some folks, right?
Yeah, we did that at the supper club. You had someone in a big,
So sorry.
it was like a balloon, only it was.
Oh, yeah, that was my balloon.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's a latex balloon, inflatable, where you put the person inside and
Yeah.
roll them around. It's quite fun.
Yeah,
It's like the
she
reverse.
loved it.
Yeah, she did. It was a great night. But what I'm getting at there is this kind of moves on to the more working with neurodivergencies. So, say someone's on the spectrum, Asperger's. Oftentimes, that sort of pressure, that compression around the body can help calm them. This is based in, do you know Temple Grandin's work? It's so interesting to
Oh yeah, Temple Grandin is she's the autistic girl who helped the
she's a woman.
cows. She started as a girl, though, didn't she, with cows?
Oh, well, I think her
When she was
research was
very
when she
young?
was older, but okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sure. Well, anyway, so she helped make the slaughtering process of cattle much more humane because they
Which
wouldn't
is-
just be forced into the kennels. They would be like led in a way that like worked with their like their natural patterning of going wouldn't be it wouldn't be terrifying to them in the same way that the previous cattle ranching procedures would be traumatizing,
Yeah.
basically. And then you'd get
And I
cortisol's in the
apologize
meat.
to any vegetarians out there that we should have given a little disclaimer
a
there
little
first.
warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically that research has then really been helpful to the autistic community in helping relax autistic children and help them modulate their own neurodivergencies in a moment by assisting them, basically. So in my work in BDSM, I'm also practicing some of these measures.
Yeah, the measures of calming and, working with the different desires. We'll just mention that we currently have a small animal in the studio that has some desires around being heard and noticed. And
does not need her own microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Twyla.
yeah, little Twyla.
For those of you who know me, you know Twyla Twinkletoes, my little disabled and very rambunctious chihuahua,
Precocious.
who is oftentimes very calm during situations like this, which I thought she would be today, but no, she's not.
She just wanted attention. I could tell she literally went right underneath both of you ladies and just kind of looked up at the table like, "Arf."
Yeah, and then she was
She's very
like kind of
vocal.
trying to like sway my pant leg. She's like, yeah, I'm going to play with your pant leg so you pay attention to me. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Temple Grandin and
well, basically working with folks, and so that can still be erotic. So imagine if part of your eroticization or your form of erotic and or sexual play is, gee, I'd like to be, mummified and then, slowly masturbated, for example. And your partner may not want to do that. They may not be comfortable with that. But that's really a neurodivergent, or I don't even like to say, it's just, to me, it's just like you get to have that. And research now shows that we can, work it's not just me going, oh, I just know this because if I press that button, your body does this. Now I get to say, oh, well, look, there's research out there that says, look at what's happening with your body. These are different chemicals in your body that are working for, with, and sometimes against you. And that's what we're going to do. So there's a lot of different examples on that kind of
research.
Yeah, or my kind of the kind of work that I'm doing around it. So this has been my life's work, and that's why I'm really excited to actually have collaboration and science behind it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, think about humiliation, for example, what it does to the body and mind, and how you determine when and where it's healing or it's harmful, because that's a psychological state, right? Consensual non-consent can really work well as a tool to healing from sexual abuse and or assault.
Right.
If
so
it
when
re-empowers.
You're agreeing that even though I'm pretending to say no, I'm actually a yes, that can be healing for people because they're re-experiencing it from a place of explicit consent.
Yeah, of
they're
power
able to
and
rewire
control.
their trauma.
Yeah, I mean, it's not overnight. And I wouldn't say, I want to be clear that what we're doing with Tantra right now is we're creating a network of, we're calling people like me the good old-fashioned dominatrix, somatic, kink, and BDSM workers or providers in collaboration with clinicians, because clinicians can't do hands-on work, but clinicians may be able, at some time in the near future, refer people, their patients out to people who do hands-on work, and they can work collaboratively so that I don't know about you, but I love talk therapy, but I have to say, sometimes I'm just like, I'm tired of talking, and there's something really magical. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but sometimes after a massage, you feel like talking about something really important, or you feel like not talking at all when normally you're very talkative. It sort of can help soothe or bring up things for you, because things are trapped in the body.
Rearrange, some ideas.
Yeah. Do you know the book, The Body Keeps the Score?
Oh, yeah. I have heard of that.
Yeah, it's a great book. But it really does, and so anytime you're dealing with the body, things are going to come up psychologically, emotionally, physically. Some other areas of interest for me right now are DS relationships, including age and animal play.
So that's dominance and submission relationships?
Thank you. As a source for parenting and reparenting. So, those bring up other issues around behavior, right? Like, where do you feel safe? Where do you want to behave in a fashion that's going to be beneficial for yourself primarily, but also those around you?
So this would be reparenting in a context of this person is already grown up, but then they just kind of want to rearrange how they feel about some things that happened in their past?
Yeah, you could say that. Sometimes it's not necessarily as overt as that, and then sometimes can be very, very much overt. And I also think, personally, as a person who tends to play more of the parental role in relationships, I too have reparented myself in those relationships by recognizing mistakes and or seeing things in others that I used to have, and then having a better knowledge around how that might be adapted or worked in a more meaningful or positive way, as opposed to, just, you little shitbag, what the hell are you doing again?
And so you're able to be like, oh, that's why my parent was so reactive in that way, and this is how I can kind of rearrange.
Yeah, and lucky for me, I understand dialectical behavioral therapy or
Right.
CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, but I'm more of a DBT person.
What's DBT again?
Dialectical behavioral therapy.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I'm sorry?
It's a little bit less
So dialectical is
cognitive-
talking?
So I know what CBT is cognitive.
right. Cognitive tends to focus more on
Also cock and ball torture, but
right. Exactly. That's why we like to make that joke. But dialectical, there's a number of practices that you utilize to regulate your emotions. So you have to, it's like you recognize your emotion first, and then you recognize, oh, I'm feeling anger, but am I really feeling anger? Is that my primary emotion or my secondary emotion? It's usually not.
the layers.
And so behind anger oftentimes is fear, for example. So that's a common one for me, for example. I might show anger instead of fear. But if you know me well enough and I know myself well enough, I know how to articulate to you, listen, I'm not angry, I'm just really scared, and here's why.
Right.
It's really meaningful and powerful, right? And then there's emotion regulation around that too, because if you're really angry and you don't want to be seen as angry because you're feeling fearful, then the last thing you want to do is continue to be angry. Like, I'm not angry.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not really going to work. So you have to. So there's all kinds of things to DBT that I really love, and I like practicing with people, even though they don't know that I'm practicing it with them, because I think it's a good thing for everyone. On that note, can I continue with my?
Please.
Please, sorry.
Yeah.
So cross-dressing or other role plays that require touch. The therapist can work out the psychological, and I can guide the client to a new level of comfort, validation, or actualization around that work. I don't like to use the term cross-dressing, to be honest, and I never have. But the reality is it's the closest and the easiest language we have to understand, what that is. And what that is usually, oftentimes, is more so the male identified person has been raised in this society where he is not allowed to,
Be feminine, be sexual.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of times it is actually helpful to access emotions like, cute, funny, sweet, sad, and exactly like you said, sensual, more sensual than just pounding the old wife, And, cross-dressing or feminization or gender play, as I like to
Rocky
call
horror.
it. Yes.
Right?
Yes. It runs a huge spectrum, giant
Yeah.
spectrum, right? So we can't really dig all that up until we do another podcast just on that subject. But basically, there's a lot of trauma around, especially, I think, people who were born and raised male, having to force all those softer emotions away.
Yeah.
And then also sometimes
Be a
it's a
man.
bit twisted because they'll actually have like a dual concept, and they'll say like, oh, well, if I were a woman, I would just be a slut. It's like, well, you probably wouldn't, because being a woman,
Yeah, actually trying to be a slut is actually not that fun because they shame you away from that.
yeah, and other things. So
Yeah.
it's a whole binary construct that really needs to be. And I love society and how we are now working towards a better way of understanding gender spectrums and codification and all
Yeah,
that.
gender and roles and maybe, the man box and not having to be in such a tight little constrictive box. Like actually like, oh, what is my authentic, feeling about how to behave and, what do I think is...
And I just find in particular, people say like, oh, guys, they dress so, boringly. But as soon as a guy puts on, I don't know, some fingernail polish or eyeliner or just wears a skirt or something, then suddenly everyone's going, oh my God, did you see that? Or the partner is going, that's not manly enough. And it's just not a cool message. Because
Damned if we're doing, we damned if we're don't.
yeah. And I mean, honestly, I like to see people of all genders, persuasions, etc., looking as pretty as they possibly can. So if
Express
that means,
themselves freely, right?
yeah. And I've always felt that way. In fact, short story from my childhood. I remember being 8 years old, and I come from a different time and a different place, right? Let's just say Midwest, a while ago. And I'm 8 years old, and I remember thinking, if I want to wear jeans this badly, there must be a boy out there somewhere who really wants to wear a dress.
Right. And now there's a poster.
Oh, does it say that?
No, yeah, there is exactly for every woman who wants to wear jeans, there is a man who would like to wear a skirt. And there's a poster, and it's, something that you would see at Planned Parenthood or something like that. Aww. Yeah, it's really, it is now a real thing, a real dream.
Well, then that is super exciting, and I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. So we're here with Eve Minax of Getting the Kinks Out, and she's talking about her work with Tantra. Did you get through the?
I just have a couple more, like sensory depth and sensory overload, meaning.
That would be more like, overloading the sympathetic nervous system.
Yes. So folks with ADHD, for example,
right,
oftentimes respond pretty well when you overstimulate them, because it's so much for them, because they can take a lot, so that it kind of parallels them out, like evens them out. Also, blindfolds work really well for a lot of ADHD folk, and bondage, if they're open to those things. So those are some other activities. And then, I have some notes here: narcissism and empathy training with mirrors, using boundaries, stating desire fulfillment. Oh, you're smiling at that one.
No, I'm just smiling because your dog is licking in the microphone louder than you're talking into it. So you should definitely talk more into your microphone and get the dog away from the lickety licker.
I hadn't even noticed.
No,
and
okay.
then
she just loves you.
Yeah, and I think then one of my final notes here is just basically radical self-acceptance for all.
Amen. Radically accepting yourself.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I mean, we all need to
hail Satan.
Radically accept ourselves.
I'm sorry, I didn't get any of the Kool-Aid this evening.
Oh, San Francisco has Kool-Aid, and it's nice, and it's hard. I think sometimes because we want to be perfect, and we want to do things right and perfectly, and sometimes it's easy to criticize yourself.
Absolutely.
And then it's so much. It's just a lot of weight to be carrying.
I feel like a big weight has been lifted just listening to you two ladies. So,
Aw.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
Because it's so enlightening that we can all coexist in this world and still get our needs met, even though we're all so different.
Well, yeah, in theory.
In theory. Well, yeah, I know.
We
I guess
can,
we're very basic.
But do we?
Oh, you mean, do we
try.
Yeah.
Well, we try.
It starts right here. It starts with this podcast.
Oh.
That's right.
That's why you're here, you and Paul, Monika.
Well, it's because we're like, hey, how can I talk more about all the different kinds of things that you could want, and that way people can have a selection of, all the different ways of, because, okay, I think especially with foot fetish, there's so many people who find foot fetish because their sexuality was constrained as they were children. And, I hear stories from potential clients or whatever that they they love feet because, they remember as a child, as a baby, walking around and looking at mom's feet or, they weren't really able to be sexual. And then, but it's being interested in feet is okay. And certainly there's all these beautiful shoes that it's okay to have sexy shoes, but is just being sexy okay? Like boobs are boobs okay? And so there's a lot in this society to unpack around, like, how much, sexuality, is suppressed anyway. But then, it's sort of like more okay to, look at like sexy shoes and be like, oh, those shoes are hot. But then, you can wear those to church. Can you wear those to church? Can you wear sexy shoes?
You can fetishize church shoes, sure. And speaking of church, there's also a really deeply rooted fetish in feet in numerous cultures and numerous religions. Here in the U.S., we tend to be a little more Christian, so, washing the feet of Christ.
Ah, yes. That was a Mary Magdalene thing it was kind of a metaphor,
yes.
even,
yeah.
for having sex. Was kneeling at the feet of Christ and something hair and I don't know exactly.
Mm-hmm. And she was a prostitute.
Exactly.
God bless her.
Yeah.
And, in some cultures, they think we're crazy because we wear our shoes in the house. How bizarre is that?
Oh, yeah. And a little bit gross.
Yeah, totally gross. I agree.
In Alaska, we don't wear shoes in the house, but that's because it's like slogging through,
yeah,
lots and layers.
I'm from the Midwest. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't,
so in California, people are like, yeah, whatever, wear your shoes inside. And we're kind of like, ew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the feet to me, and like I was mentioning earlier, for those of you who may have missed it, I'm kind of orgasmic in my feet. I mean, for me, it's like walking around with my genitalia like exposed. I have to be really cautious and careful around how that goes for me. It's super sensitive. So, I think there's just a lot to be said about the beauty of the meaning of the foot. Like when you said about the mother, here you are. A lot of fetishes do come from that place of being down there on the floor and looking up, right? So there's the upskirt fetish, and they still use that a lot in the movies. Oh, you know who's a well-known shrimper? Do you know what a shrimper is?
I do know what a shrimper is. A shrimper is someone who puts all the feet in their mouth.
Well, shrimping is actually somebody who worships feet in general, but and
they lick
it's basically
toes?
The toes, really, really dig the
shrimp, like
little
they're
shrimp.
Eating shrimp.
Like little shrimpies.
Oh, like they're devouring little shrimp. Oh.
So it's pretty well known, and I think it's even well known in society at this point in time, or at least in Hollywood, that there's a well-known director who's a massive shrimper, and if you look at his work, you will see so many foot shots, naked foot shots. Do you know who it is?
No,
I don't. But I don't watch that many movies.
Has anything to do with Forrest Gump?
Is it Scorsese? Scorsese?
No. It's oh wait, hang on. I just had his name in my head.
Oh, that's funny. It's a mystery.
I can picture his face.
We're not going to tell you now.
Had his head.
It's just a secret that we're just gonna. Maybe it'll come to you at the end of the podcast. But we're gonna talk also about all the different kinds of foot fetishes, because there's foot fetishes that are into being dirty, and then there's foot fetishes that are into being clean, right? So there's like a foot fetishist that wants the feet or wants your toes to be like unwashed, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a foot fetishist who, wants your feet to be freshly pedicured.
Unwashed necessarily isn't about, it's kind of a funny thing. It's more generally about the smell, the odor.
So it's
they're
stinky.
they're associating the scent So it's more of an
What kind of
olfactory.
scent?
The
Let's describe
smellier,
the scent.
smellier the better. Smelly feet.
So like
smell.
more cheesy?
Yeah.
Feedier.
Well, you know,
Well, that's the thing. Because when you're making cheese, it was originally made by monks and they would step on the cheese. So there are plenty of cheeses that were stepped on by monks, and that actually is the natural foot bacteria of monks in ancient France. And that's why feet taste like cheese. It also sometimes is like armpits because we are all using that same kind of bacteria in the cheese to like make the scent.
Do you
I know,
miss
like, when they
cheese,
stomp
Monica?
when they
I do miss cheese, and I'm going to France, and I'm not saying no to cheese.
Oh, you're not going to say
anymore.
no?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm in France. Then
It's
get
good
a pass.
cheese anyway, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the healthy
J'aime
kind.
le fromage.
I was going to say,
J'aime
oui,
le
fromage.
fromage.
Oui.
Um,
Feet. And
Yeah.
their connection to cheese.
yes. So I was just remembering, I've had so many experiences, but a lot of times, you know, what I would do is I would choose a pair of shoes that, say, were made of vinyl,
Oh,
not
because
leather,
that would
they don't
actually make you
breathe.
more sweaty.
Yeah, and then you wear those without any socks for, you know, try to wear them for 2 or 3 days and exert
Get nice and funky.
exercise and the things that I would normally find offensive or unhappy making.
Right? You'd be
For
like,
me.
"Ugh."
You know, cook that up basically. I used to
Right.
call it cooking.
Oh.
Yeah, underarms too.
Mm.
Underarms are another place. It's funny you should mention that because only certain people, only certain submissives of mine have been granted the underarm because I have
You're like, that's for me.
armpitgasm.
Oh, you do
Yeah,
have an
same
armpit.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Wow,
that's
we've gone
so
from-
special
Footgasm.
to armpitgasm.
Wow.
And so, is that like is it related to the ticklegasm at all, or is it completely separate?
me-
Can you have an armpitgasm and a ticklegasm, or are they Switzerland's?
For me, it's Switzerland. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're not really related.
Well, I think they are related
they're
in
neutral
the
territory?
sense of nerve endings and sensory application, but tickle tends to be
And sympathetic nervous system.
Yes,
Aha.
but I think tickling tends to be more raucous, so it's more like a,
Right.
you know, and the armpit is more like a.
Interesting. I don't really know what the difference is between those two sounds.
No, I do.
Okay.
Sometimes I can only describe things in sounds.
Yeah, so it's more of a
It's like a deep.
feeling of vibration and frustration, or
No, not frustration.
but getting to orgasm. So something's building. So it's a peak sensation that's building.
Yes. And that's all I have to say. So, but you know, it's so fun when you have real, really experienced, happy foot people in your life. If you are a foot person yourself, as you very well know. I had a long-term submissive foot slave who, the very first time we met, this is when I was in Chicago, and he was actually living out here. And he was owned by like 3 mistresses or something out here, and they all lived together, and it was, you know, fabulous. And they'd send him off with a little note.
Cute.
But I knew he was into feet and everything, and I came to my dungeon. I was running a little bit behind, but I wasn't late for our appointment. But he was early. He was at the doorstep. And I was wearing, strangely enough, and I don't wear sneakers very often, although, strangely enough, I'm wearing them today. I was wearing sneakers, though, and I made him get down on the street and kneel and worship my sneakers right on Clark Street in Chicago.
Cute.
And he was gorgeous, really a sweet guy. So, you know, and then I've footed people, we call it footing.
You've
Put the foot in the butt.
oh
Or
Wow.
in the vagina.
wow, okay. And so do you have to put your foot in a particular shape to make that work?
Yes, and you can actually wrap a condom around your foot.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes it probably more aerodynamic
Yeah,
too,
a little more
and safer.
slippery. Mm-hmm.
It aids
In the and also lots of lube. Lots of lube, and I'm making the,
Yeah,
the fisting. For those of you on the radio, I'm making the silent duck
International fisting. But yeah, some foot fetishists are really just about the feet, the beauty. And the hardcore sort of classic foot fetishist, if you will, in that domain tends to want to see a very high arch, smaller feet, although larger feet have become more popular over the years, which I'm very glad of since I wear a size 10. But a high arch and sort of a 6.5.
Those size queens.
Exactly. And then that that it's been scientifically proven, like, what is the highest your heel that your foot can ever manage?
Oh,
It's about 5.5 inches, I believe. So that's why when you see shoes, they can't go, no matter what size foot you have. If you have a size 5 or a size 12, you can't bend your foot any higher or lower than 5.5 feet. So that's when they have to start using the platform.
so they actually did some math on that. So
Yeah.
they really are I'm not going to torture you with impossible shoes.
I have the drawings at home somewhere, probably in a box of maybe one of your viewers or your listeners will tell me or tell us later, but it's either Kroll or Stanton who did the actual measurements, and it's a fantastic series of drawings of the foot in its classic best form. And I've looked at this over and over and over everywhere, from Manolo Blahnik's to Jessica Simpson heels or what have you.
So 5.5 inch heels. That's
it's like either 5.5 or 6. It might be in centimeters better,
It
but
probably
I
had
see.
to be part of the patent pending on actually what would work.
like physiologically.
and then after that you go to the ballet boot style, which I don't know if you know.
I understand.
And you cannot walk in those.
Right, because you will ruin
can't.
your feet.
You have to be a ballerina, basically.
And they get like point training.
Yeah, you'd have to have.
And then they also kind of
points.
ruin their feet. Anyway, like we've all seen that one movie.
That one.
Can't
movie.
remember that movie.
Sure.
Why?
Yeah, I've seen that
one,
movie.
That one.
The movie about
know,
the snowflake, the swan lake, the swan, black swan.
Black Swan. Thank you.
Got it.
I was psychically projecting it
You
to you,
were,
and I was
'cause
like,
we're
that
buddies.
movie. Yeah, that movie. She ruins her feet and also her legs, and I mean, she's a little bit of not a masochist. She's more of a
We don't need to talk about that movie.
yeah.
'Cause
Well, anyway.
we want to cover some more ground.
Oh yeah.
Speaking
okay.
of covering ground,
Yes.
so another form of foot fetish.
Go, Eve.
When you have foot fetishists, sometimes when you work with people, like they may start out to just be like, oh, I just want a little prostate stimulation and some light cross dressing, and then you've been working with them for 10 years, and now they're a full blown porn star.
Oh.
So the
Sure.
same thing with feet. They may start by being a foot fetishist.
They do baby steps.
And then maybe eventually they're really into trampling.
oh yes, trampling.
So trampling is often based
let's
on a
talk about
foot
trampling.
fetish.
So trampling is when you actually want to put your feet on people's face, and then they step on your face.
Or sometimes heels.
Oh, heels.
I cut my teeth in Melbourne, Australia, on kink or on BDSM. And I would go to this club every, whatever it was. And one time I went there and I was wearing 10-inch thigh-high boots that I had. And they were 10 inches. Why? Because they had a 4-inch platform. Anyhow, so this guy had made his own little sort of, just imagine you have a banister on either side, and then you have like a little rack down on the ground. So the guy would lie on the rack part on the ground,
Oh.
so that you, as the trampler, could walk across his body and hold yourself, so that you didn't put full weight, or you didn't. If you did start to, you could put full weight when you wanted to, or where it was safe. And so I did that on him with my stiletto boots.
Big boots.
And I was with a friend of mine, and she's just like, "Oh my God, I've never seen a happier man in all my life." She said, "I was terrified when you went up there."
Because you were wearing these big shoes.
Yeah, and I did it really slowly too, so that there was also this tension of like, where's that heel going to go, and how far will it?
Big heel.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, that's also a space, where some people would prefer, like if you get a foot fetishist contacting you, or if you have a partner or a play partner in your life who says that they really love feet, or they like to play with feet, or what have you, try to be open-minded and ask a question, like, "Oh, do you like bare feet?" If you're open to it, try it, like, do you like bare feet? Do you like to have your feet sucked on, or do you want to suck on mine, or do you want to polish my nails, or do you want to see me in heels, or do you want to wear the heels, or do you want us to both wear heels? I mean, there's a huge spectrum there that's not to be discounted.
In addition to what I have found, being more open to foot sensation, because my sexuality has been developing throughout my lifetime. And now that I have had these experiences of foot worship, I have noticed that more of my sexuality, I have more consciousness of my feet. And so sometimes, I really feel like the more sensation in my full body, so definitely not only not counting the sensations in my feet, but if I, am able to put the bottom of my feet on a lever while we're playing, or like if I can have all of the energy in my body going, not nowhere, but like that it is the system that's connected, so that I can integrate both the sensations of my feet with the sensations of my genitals, and the sensation of my mouth, and the sensations, all the other erotic sensations that are playing all around the entire body, like an integrated system. Then you can, it makes sense with more full body orgasms, so more pleasure, but then also more relaxation.
Absolutely. And you can also do foot bondage, and you can also do bondage with your feet.
So what exactly is the difference between foot bondage and what was the... tell us about foot bondage.
Well, let me talk about the bondage with your feet first, because I think that's a better segue, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course.
One of my favorite things at the moment is I have this swaddling situation in my dungeon.
In your apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's cute.
In my play space, the unit. And I have the ability to have like a bondage bed underneath that. So I can get under the bondage bed after I've put the person in the swaddling space. And then I can wrap my legs around them and hold them. I can move them in the swaddle. So they're like swinging around and moving. I can kick them, not like hard kicking, but more like a thumping, pushing.
Sensation play kind of thing.
Yeah, total sensation, light corporal, putting the foot in the mouth if that's something they enjoy. So it's this encapsulation.
Putting their foot in your mouth?
No, my foot in their mouth.
Aha, yes.
Certain people, I'll put their foot in my mouth. Yeah. And I'm just, thinking about this to utilize it so this is a great way to once again return to that sort of autistic and or ADHD. You have this like calming, and if they're into feet, of course, as well, this is just, icing on the cake.
Sure. Well, I literally don't actually know the difference between foot bondage and then the other thing that we were talking about? Like,
Well, foot
this?
bondage would be more like
When you're
binding
tying
your
up the
feet.
feet?
Yeah, so shibari style.
Mhm.
Think of binding the feet in
Chinese. Yeah.
practices, and even what
And
you
then
were
your
just
foot
talking
would turn
about with
black,
the
and
point.
it's all
Yeah, that's
it's intense. And of course
And you
they
can also wrap small pieces of rope between the toes.
the
In
toes.
certain, yeah. And you can create. You can also you can put bondage on
and
the
does
toes.
that become comfortable after a while, or is it
You mean
about the
uncomfortable,
sensation of discomfort?
Strangeness, discomfort, something small like that, where you can put them in a state where they can't walk, like back to the ballet shoes.
Oh, right. Okay.
So they may be mobile in theory, but they can't walk unless they're walking, just on their heels, for example. So you can create what we call predicament situations.
Right.
Right. So if they try to move in a certain way, then if you have them trussed up in another way, then something will fall or something will pull at a genital or
Yes, because you're sort of playing with them, like torturing them consensually, because you're torturing them pleasurably.
torment.
Torment. Yes.
Well, I mean, we know that torture means torment, but sometimes I like to use for the broader audience torment.
Yeah, I mean, it's consensual and it's pleasurable. Like
all parties are having fun.
Exactly. Like, even though it's like, oh no, I'm in a predicament. It's a predicament of like, tee hee hee, fun.
It's one I signed up for.
Right, exactly. And it could be something, very intense, like flogging, or I'm thinking of like medical play, because you also do medical play, but like that's like some very intense stuff. But it's also something that's very, if someone's signing up for that, people love it.
Yeah. And I firmly believe that everything's on a spectrum. So I can make medical really light and fluffy and sensual and not at all hardcore. But of course.
Would you give me my vitamin B shot? We could make it fun.
Do you need one?
Not right now,
Okay.
but yes.
You could do it on the radio.
Oh, that would be so fun. Okay,
And
next
now
time.
I'm opening the syringe.
Yay!
And now I'm putting the alcohol on her
because-
left buttock.
And,
Well,
and
because
I could put a little Vaseline on the film screen, or
Well, because
just
sometimes,
blur it out, right? Does it not do it?
medical things and also gynecology, like they're doing this thing to your genitals, or they're doing this thing to your body, and they're trying to make it as not sexy and not fun as possible. But it's
clinical.
But it's also very like it could be pleasurable, because the body is like a wonderland of sensation. And so I sometimes I understand like why doctors are not trying to turn you on when they're doing a pelvic exam, but I do wish that we could just also have more fun with the body. And in some ways I think medical play is a way there. And then I also foot fetish, it's
or mix the two and be, I'm your podiatrist.
Podiatrist, exactly. I actually
I'm your podiatrist of love.
I oftentimes say I'm also a pediatrician, a veterinarian. Yes.
Oh, because you have little
Because I do
puppies.
age play and animal play. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But going back to your
Feet.
no, I wanted to go back to feet, but I wanted to give you a little story about France, the medical system, since you're going to France.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
So while I was in France, I had an appointment to look inside my
Yes.
vagina with a what's that called, the
Speculum?
no, the sonogram,
Sonogram?
or the whatever it's called, the gram.
The wand, like the ultrasound.
God, we're all hilarious today, aren't we?
It's not a sonogram?
Something like that. No, I
But
think
they insert the sonogram thing, or ultrasound.
Ultrasound, thank you. But they do insert it if they want to look for something inside of you,
Yeah.
which is what happened.
In your vagina.
In my vagina.
Yeah.
Not in mine.
And
checking.
so I got to the clinic and I walk in and I say, I have an appointment. And they're like, okay, come on over here. And the place is all wide open.
Oh, so they're not like
No
making you...
stalls, no doors, no... and the technician says, well, okay, hop on up. Like, take your clothes off and hop on up on the table. And so I do. So I'm like naked in this room. And then he takes the little device which goes inside of you. And then he lets me see what's on the screen. All right. If anyone listening here knows what I'm talking about compared to what it's like in the United States, let me give you a comparative. In the United States, when I went to get the same
procedure,
the male technician had to have a female
Right.
present.
standing there,
We were
kind of frumpy looking.
unhappy
Unhappy at
surrounded,
you all.
by four walls.
We're doing something naughty.
He had like 6 sheets on top of me. He had to like grapple around to try to find me. I was not permitted to look at the monitor to see anything.
Oh,
And it was so shame giving and just like so gross.
and also disembodied.
It was
like you
awful.
weren't even able to look at what's happening to you.
Whereas the experience in the complete open was friendly. Everybody's doing their job. Like you don't
Right.
have to. And we have bodies.
Right.
Side note on that, anyone listening from next door who's an asshole about all the people in San Francisco who are ruining this town, those guys in the Castro have been walking around nude for a long time, and they have the right to do so as far as I'm concerned, even if the law is against it. And most of the time they're wearing socks on their dicks if you look down, by the way. Okay.
Or a little hanky that's
Yeah.
sparkly.
Yeah. Back
Yeah.
to you, Monica. Sorry.
And that was Eve Minax with the PSA for edstudiosonline.com.
Bodies
That's
are
right.
natural, and telling your child don't look at that body, or stating on next door that you think that the body shouldn't be seen because it's old and fat.
Yeah, I think it's better to accept our bodies as they are throughout our lifetimes and not have so much shame and suffering attached, because that's adding more baggage to our experience as human beings on this planet.
Yeah, it's just bullshit.
And there's already enough stuff to be worried about, right?
Hello.
We've been talking to Eve Minax of Getting the Kinks Out and eveminax.com. We've romped through divergent sexualities and the physiology of kink, and she has something more to tell us about.
One more thing.
Tell me.
Who was that person?
Paul wants to know, and I have it, and I've been hanging on to it. So for the finale, I'd like to share the famous shrimper with y'all.
The famous shrimper. Dun, 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 dun.
It's not Forrest Gump. It's
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, of course.
Now, take a look
course.
at one of his movies and tell me you
Yeah.
don't find at least 4 full-on frontal
Shrimpity shrimp feet.
foot shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulp
Okay.
Fiction alone.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the recent one
it's
with
all
this
clear now.
the skater girl, I can't remember her name right now, but she has a lot of foot scenes in that one. Had Robert De Niro, and I don't remember the
It's
name.
all about the feet.
Robert De Niro and stilettos. Okay. Now I'm starting to know why that's going on. All right.
Thank you for coming on Sexploration with Monika. Eve Minax of Getting the Kinks Out. We've been talking about the neuro and physiobiology of kink with Tantra and neurodivergent sexualities and all the different kinds of pleasure that you can experience with your footsies.
with your feetsies and with the drugs in your body.
And you can include all of it in your pleasure. You don't have to have a separation between this part of your body and that part of your body, because I think, at least for me and in my opinion, the more we can stop thinking about sex as just a penis-vagina thing, the more we can include all of our bodies and all of the potential sensations and experiences, and the less we compartmentalize, perhaps we will experience bigger and longer and more orgasms. And you seem to have a large diversity of different kinds of orgasms that you can experience from a lot of different places.
Yes, I can experience, but I can also help others experience new and interesting.
Find your own orgasm in a different place, like maybe armpit gasms and
Nostrils.
nostril gasms.
The gums.
Oh, you can have an
Top of the
orgasm on
roof.
your gum.
The roof of the mouth, rather.
In the erogenous zone, and
There's
apparently
a-
there's ones
That
we
is
don't
like
know
an
about.
erogenous zone that I even haven't heard of, which is saying a lot.
The roof of the mouth.
Oh, roof of the mouth.
That's a good one. Also, back to feet, though. I think it's the third shrimp in is a direct link to your
Crotch.
crotch.
Ah.
But what's it called? The vagus nerve.
Oh, vagus nerve. Yeah, that's an important nerve that goes all the way through your body, the vagus nerve.
Viva Las Vegas.
Viva the Vegas. Viva the Vegas.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming on Sexploration with Monika, Eve.
Thanks for having me, Monica. And Paul, you're a delight.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us, Eve.
You can find Eve at eveminax.com and getting the kinks out. She also has a Facebook page and
Twitter, Instagram, Eve, Evemine.
like
I
the
misspelled
spider.
that. Minax.
Minax, like the spider. Thanks for coming on Sexploration with Monika.
Kisses.
And so now we're just going to pitter patter as